This is a little tester. I'm testing some things out. Synth man. So what I'm testing out today is I got this mic. I'm trying to test out the outdoor setup. I'm going to talk about the MPC in a minute. But I'm testing out this new mic system I got, and I'm testing out this new tripod system I got. So I probably might need your guys' input on the microphone. As you can see it right here. And it's hooked up to the system over there. So that's cool. And I want to talk a little bit about the MPC, but more importantly, I want to know if this mic sounds good doing a live stream. And that's pretty much what I'm into. So we'll see if anyone pops in for a second. But I gotta say, so the first test of the stream has gone awry. Fixed up here. We're back in action. We're back in action. There we go. A little bit of wind, a little bit of wind. That's all, a little wind. All right, I think we're back here now. Maybe I gotta put a little rock under there. See if this works. What's up, James? All right, let me see if I can get this going. Test, test. How's the mic? Does the mic sound good? Saturday? I gotta make sure this thing doesn't collapse over. The wind just took her down. So what I'm testing out here today, I'm testing out this here. This Ceremonic, all right? And it comes with this little mic and this little pop thing or whatever, furry little thing on top. And it's basically like a DJI clone. So it's got this little setup, and I got a receiver set up on the back end of the phone here. That just tipped over. That's hilarious. What's happening? Saturday night, man? I was going to talk about the MPC here in a minute. The volume's a bit low. All right, let's check it out. Test, test. You let me know. Video smothered out. Yeah, I think it popped off there. Let me know if it comes back in. We're just testing it this stream. We got the volume on here. Test, test, test. Let me know. Tester, tester. 1, 2, 3. Test, test. It's super rainy here in North Texas. Yeah. It seems like the volume's good on the receiver. Keep letting me know. I'm going to test it for a couple more seconds till anyone gets in here, but let me know what's going on. Test, test. 1. You guys hear me good or what? It's your guys' deal. Let me know. Anyways, like I said, volume is about the same on my end. Same as in good or same as in bad? What's it like? Is it good? Let me know. Let me move this a little closer. That's a bit better there, like that. Test 1, test 2, baby. What do you think? We good with the volume? Same as in low. All right, hold on a second. It's my first time using this thing, so I'm just testing it out here. Which I never do, and the volume's way up. All right, hold on. Give me a second here to test this thing. So this is the mic. Better now if you move a bit closer. All right, I'll put it up a bit closer to my face here. Should be good up there now like that, right? I think we're a bit delayed on my end, so we'll check it out. But for now, how's Saturday going? People doing good? Had a full day here. Way better when it's closer. All right, cool. So we got it popped up here. So like I was saying, this is what we're testing out here tonight. The Ceremonic, I bought this, I think it was like 120 bucks. You get this mic set up here. You get 2 of these. Just pulled a steak off the grill. I just bought a steak to put on the grill. Charger pack, all right? And then I got a receiver plugged into the phone on this end and the gimbal. And then I got the mic hooked up here. So if the mic sounds good to you guys, let's do a test. You guys let me know, right? Test, test. It's supposed to have a 20-meter test. Test, test. Can you hear the kid? 20-meter test, test, test. I think it's good, man. I think it's just got to be a bit closer to my face, but I'll get into the details later when I get in the house and I see if there's some way to mix it up higher or lower. But Anyway, absolutely amazing to have a steak on the grill. I got a grill there right over the fire pit to have a steak later as well. Sounds good, baby. Thank you, Buff the Cat. Listen, Buff, man, great songs in the Kumite already, dude. You're posting like a madman. Something's not right, very low, as if it's set to line level, not mic. Interesting. One person says it's good, one person says it's not. When I'm looking on the thing, it looks like it's good to go. Huh. Interesting. Maybe I got to talk a little louder. We're going to go with it for now, and if it's crap, then I'll just delete the stream and we'll redo it later. Yeah, I'm thinking about next week. As far as the Kumite goes, I'm thinking about, my whole plan with the Kumite is I want to start with the opening ceremony song, and I'm going to build a storyline around that as I go. And then next year, maybe Kumite 2025, it'll be something different. But yeah, man, I'm impressed with the songs so far. They're amazing. I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. It's such a cool thing, man. I even felt the pressure this last week too, or this week, sorry. I was like, man, I got to get this track in and get it done. And I felt like I wasn't ready, but the pressure of the Kumite made me like dig a little deeper, work a little harder, and then get a track that kind of turned out pretty good. I hope you felt the same. So you see this here? I was going to send that back. And I said, I'm not sending that back. I got a lesson from old Ron Cavanaugh, however you say it. And he basically brought me through a pretty good intro to it. And then I went and watched a couple videos, and it was absolutely, something clicked. So as far as this goes right now, I'm keeping this thing. And there's pretty much only one reason why I'm keeping this. The reason why I'm keeping it is because I think this here will allow me now to make synthwave, which I couldn't really do with my setup. I've tried, but stuff just wouldn't jive. So I was like, that there setup lets me do the style that I'm doing now, my narrative kind of samurai storyline style. But the MPC is actually, I made a synthwave track in like 10 minutes. And it was almost like cleaner. So the stuff I make isn't clean. It's like very evolving, random, and surprising, almost like the improv style. But when I'm doing this, it's clean. You can set the song, you can set up your verse, your chorus, your bridge, your intro, and it just comes in so smooth and clean. It almost made me feel guilty that it was that easy, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think I'm keeping it, man, yeah. It's crazy because the sounds in there, like you just hit the 80s drum synthwave sounds, and just the drums alone allow you to build a track around the synthwave drums with that gated reverb on the drum, you know the sound I'm talking about. And I haven't even experimented outside of that, but I think I'd like to experiment with some like synth reggae, stuff like that. How's the mic? Let me know if the mic's clean now, because before, camera fell off. I think I broke the screen actually on a brick there, but it's all good. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep this. I'm digging in. I got a video now that actually like explained to me properly the whole layout for the whole way to make a song in super simple. Man, it's crazy actually. So when Ron brought me through that hour, and if you're in the Discord and you need help, man, Ron is the man. He's the boot camp master. He brought me through a half hour to an hour with this thing, and it didn't make total sense till after I sat down in bed with it and played around. I was like, this makes total sense now. And then when I watched the video of how to structure the song, copy, paste, cut, man, it's actually pretty mind-blowing how they set this up. And the majority of the stuff on this thing is just a repeat of everything. Well, when you start thinking, it is, man. James, you're right. Unquestionably, this is a studio in a box. And once you wrap your head around it's not a groove box, not that I thought it was a groove box, but I actually thought I'd be able to take it out, plug it in, and I thought I'd be able to make a song like instantly, and I got humbled super quick at how crazy this thing is. But it's like snowboarding. If you've ever snowboarded, you just fall down for 2 days, and then on the third day, you're like, I can snowboard. And I think this thing is the same thing. So you stick with it, watch some tutorials, get a muscle memory going, and man, this is a mind-blowing little machine. And for $400-500. The ability to have this, let's just take out hardware alone. If you only have this thing, you can pretty much, I bet you I could put out an album a week if I wanted to get up every morning, 5 a.m. From 5 to 7, I did MPC. I could put out an album a week for a year and I'd have 52 albums, guaranteed. I might even try it just to prove it. I might do a 52-week, 1 year, 52 albums in 1 year with an MPC project. What's up, Jumping Man, baby? Welcome. Tom is it over there in Portugal. Yeah, so what we're doing here, Jumping Man, it's a music tool. It does take time to get the hang of it. And the thing about this is it's not about taking time. It's about, like Ron told me, you have to delete everything you know. If you're used to DAWs and you're used to hardwares and sequencers and all this stuff, you got to get rid of that, because this doesn't work the same way. It works completely different. It works like nothing else I've touched, and I've touched a nice few things at this point in my young career. When are they both visiting you? Who? Who are you talking about? Who's visiting me? The ghost of Christmas past? I'll tell you one thing who's visiting is the angel of death is going to be visiting soon. And that's going to blow you guys away. Not you guys in general, but it's going to get pretty wild over the next 6 months. You and the other chap. Listen, nobody's visiting me, man. I don't have visitors. The only visitors I have are animals that lurk through the woods back there. No one else comes to the compound unless they're pre-invited and screened, because it's wild these days. But anyways, back to the MPC. So this is what we're looking at, Jump Man. I bought this thing, 120 bucks. It's got a double mic. This is a charging port. It's basically like a DJI mic clone. It's got a receiver, plugs right into the phone. It's got these mics, these little pop shields. And 120 bucks. I'm gonna see later what this sounds like. It seems like it sounds pretty good. And we're testing out, and I can walk around. I think I got 20 meters of walk. What's up, Frederick? What's happening, man? Oh, come to Portugal, baby. Yeah, me and my missus are planning on coming to Portugal. So that's only like a 6-hour flight, I think, 5-hour flight direct from Boston. So yeah, if we come to Portugal, we're gonna have to hook up for sure, brother. For sure. Definitely. Definitely into Portugal. Have you ever watched the documentary on Madeleine, was it Madeleine McCain her name was or something? I appreciate that, man. What's up, Synth Seeker? So Synth Seeker's here. I don't know if you just joined in. I'm gonna keep repeating it tonight because this is kind of a test stream. I got this mic, 2 mics and a receiver, and I'm testing out the quality of this when it comes to moving around. It seems like I got 20 meters of distance. It's a DJI mic clone. And I got the MPC here now, which I'm giving an apology to all the MPC people out there. This is a huge apology to you because I almost left it and I almost got rid of it. Thanks, man. The mic sounds good. Yeah, I brought it up a little closer with the little fluffy tip, and now it seems pretty good. Yeah, but the MPC sounds okay. So far, it sounds good. All right, we're just looking for okay. I'm not looking for pro sound quality. This is an on-the-road setup where say I met up with one of you guys, say I went to Portugal and hit the Jumping Man, I'd hit him up with this mic, and I got this mic, and we could do a little show together. That's kind of what I'm trying to do, man. I'm just trying to keep expanding and creating a scenario where we're growing. But anyways, back to the MPC. I couldn't make a synthwave song. Not that I couldn't, but I was having trouble with the setup contemplating a synthwave style song. I could do my style, ambient-y, narrative, spacey. I don't know if it's, I didn't have the drums. I don't use the DAW, I just straight up hardware. So I was very limited in how I could make synthwave. Now, if I really dug in, I probably could. But with this thing, 10 minutes. I made probably, honestly, you guys probably might think it's the greatest synthwave song of all time. Give up on the MPC? I didn't give up, baby. I told you I don't give up. No retreat, no surrender. I don't give up. Yeah, it's self-contained UI. So what I'm thinking is, I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet, but at the moment, I'm going to use it as... My whole goal is to make a synthwave, kind of like the Brock style, Time Cop style album on here. So I don't even know if I'm going to integrate this into the setup at all for at least a year. And I think that's the way I'm going to do it, because that'll give me time to learn the whole everything. I got a pretty good idea what's going on now. And the synthwave song I made now, I'm going to go, because I figured out how to chop it back, pull stuff out, add stuff in song mode. So now we're rolling, baby. So listen, I have to apologize to all the MPC people out there. I can't remember the name of the guy. It was Ron Cavanaugh and Douglas, MPC Douglas is his name. He's a legend. He did 2 videos which pretty much like totally hit it all, man. If there's 14 people, hit the like, man. I should have 14 likes right now just to get the algorithm going, you know, because we got to surf the algorithm. Is that thing something like a Fruity Loops in a hardware form? The best way I can describe this thing is not even like a DAW. It's like, how can I say, man? It's like having the way it's set up, I'm not going to turn it on, but the way it's set up, it's got a project up top, it's got a sequence, it's got a track, and then it's got at the bottom here like a plug-in or an instrument kind of thing. So you get your, it's like, if you can imagine a DAW, it's got the project at the top, then your sequence is considered like your verse, your chorus. So sequence 1, intro. Sequence 2, verse. Sequence 3, and then you go down, and for each add an instrument, right? And each sequence you can have multiple instruments. It might sound confusing when I'm saying this, but I bought this brain for my whole setup, and I'm not implanting the brain into my synth chimpanzee at the moment. Right now, this is going to be totally standalone, and I'm going to use this for what I think it'll be best served for me. You got to do an episode. You know what? I'm going to do an episode, and I got to give all credit to Ron. Ron literally gave me an hour boot camp one-on-one, and God bless him for taking the time to do that. He's an absolute legend. I said earlier, if you're not in the Discord, jump in the Discord. I'll throw the link in, or go find it, or something like that, or email me in the links or whatever. But he brought me through an hour, and then I got that. I played around. It's got, dude, it's got a sequencer that's, I might venture to say the sequencer's almost unlimited. I think it's like 200. It's beyond. The only thing that limits this thing is the amount of plugins you can have per track. So you're allowed to have 8 plugins. So what that means is, for example, you can have a drum, you know what it means, drum, synth, bass, synth, drum, lead, boom, boom. You can have 8 of those, and they can be spread across all of your sequences, and your sequences can run unlimited. Me and Ron play with it. He turned the bar to, so you got to imagine it like that. So it goes like this. So this is how he taught me to build it. I'll explain it later. This might not make a bit more sense once I turn on the screen later, but I just wanted to get some fresh air and chill. So how it works is this. Let's say I want to build a synthwave song, right? It's not for hip hop. I'm going to prove it's not for hip hop. I'm going to prove this thing is like for anything. So let me just say how it's going to go. So this is how it goes first. This is how I did it, and it was by accident. Then when I went and watched the other guy, it made sense to go reverse engineer it. And that's pretty much most of the time what I do anyways, is reverse engineer everything, because I got ADHD and I don't have time to focus in and just go step 1 to 100. I go step 1 to 100 to 50 to 75 to 25, and somewhere along there I figured out. So here's how it goes. MPCs for any style. You're right. Okay, so here's how it goes from what I gathered right now. I made the song as jam-packed as I could do it. So I started with the drums, a synth-style drums from some 80 pack that's on there, synth-style drums, then I added a bass line, and I did this over 8 bars. Added a bass line, added a lead, added little sprinkles on top, and then added a pad. Okay, so that's stacked now. Say I got 5 plugins used. So I got a 5, if you can imagine a DAW, imagine GarageBand or any of those DAWs, you got 5 lines. You got your drum, you got your bass line, you got your lead, you got your pads, and you got your sprinkles. And that's all stacked like that. And that's one sequence of 8 bars. So 8 bars like that. What you do is you go into song mode, you cut times, boom, 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 okay? The whole thing top you go into this thing called song mode and you start muting different parts of what you did. It's almost too much, if you can imagine that. You create the soup of your song, then you go into song mode and you mute. So say I do it for the intro, I want it real light. I mute everything but the pad and the bass line, right? So that's just a, and then I can, after the 8 bar, and I can turn it to 4 bars. So I turn that, say, to 2 bars. Intro 2 bars, then my next sequence, I keep at 8, I turn that to 4, boom, that's comes into the verse, and in the verse, I'll just mute the drum fill and the lead solo. Drop that down. Then I go, next, do you see how that works? It's so simple, it's crazy, and it might sound absolutely mental if you've never used this thing, because I thought it was mental for 2 weeks straight. I was like, this thing's a piece of crap. This is crazy. My wife stopped me. I almost threw this thing in the fire. She's like, you can't throw that in the fire. You should sell it. I'm like, nobody deserves to have this thing because it causes so much frustration. But then I took a step back, I've relaxed, and I said, let me give this a bit more time. And I got to tell you right now, I haven't even integrated this with the MIDI in, the MIDI out. I haven't sampled it. I haven't done nothing yet. All I'm talking about is I can make a whole synthwave album, and after the Kumite is over in 8 weeks, it's perfect for lounge music, you're right. It's almost too perfect. So the style of music I make is not perfect. There's mistakes. It doesn't follow. Only thing it pretty much follows is a tempo. And then throughout that tempo, I come in at different bars. So I might come in at a 3rd bar instead of a 4th bar, stuff like that. And it sounds more unpredictable and spontaneous. With this thing here, so far, it's very predictable. Very, 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 Jan, I don't know if I explained that properly, dude, but the best way I can describe it is that. But I'm gonna make a video on it and show you because I got this thing now and I might as well show you, you know what, maybe tonight I'll hook it up and I'll do a video just showing the basic, what I've learned. Because maybe it'd be cool just to document how I'm learning as I go from start, because I haven't even really done anything with this yet besides run, boom, song, boom, holy crap, I can make stuff so quick on this, it's crazy. Like I said, it almost feels like cheating, you know? So that's that with the MPC. I'm keeping it. It's amazing. I'm just getting used to it, and I haven't even scratched the surface, and it's deep as hell. But if you've ever tried jump rope or snowboarding, it doesn't work for the first while, and then suddenly it clicks, and then you get it. That's the best way I can describe this thing, is you just got to stick with it for a little bit. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. You want to learn the MPC together? I'll do it, man, because listen, for 500, the only thing that compares to this right now that I own for this price is the Arturia Mini Freak. The Arturia Mini Freak for 500, 600 bucks. MC707, I don't know much about that yet, but the workflow might be more congruent to synthesizer, sequencer, things that you've studied. This here seems to be all its own, and I'm wondering if Akai didn't do that on purpose, so it's really hard to duplicate. But what do you think of the red? I wanted to get the Nintendo gray, but it was $200 more for gray? I just didn't understand that, but that's what I wanted. I want the Nintendo gray. But I think I'm gonna buy a skin and put over it because I'm not really into the red, but it is what it is. Everyone tells me the red's never gonna sell, but I think it's gonna sell. But I ain't selling it, so I don't care. So, yeah, it looks good, man. You look good. So I got the red chair, I got the red MPC. All we need now is the red sky. I want to see more of the MPC, considering picking that up. Something similar, Nintendo vibe indeed, yeah. All right, I'll make a promise to you guys now that I'm going to do I'll do it, man, because it'll help me learn. You know, the best way to learn is to teach. I'm not going to teach per se because I don't know it yet, but I will start from the get-go and just show you. I think that's cool. So let's move on now from the MPC. You can look at it, it's still pretty, but I think I want to talk about the Moog Muse and SUPERBOOTH because I got a lot of information that I don't know if I should talk about it or not, but I'm probably going to talk about it because I think it needs to be known, you know? What do you guys think? Should I talk about the Moog Muse and what's going on in music and Moog right now? Because, man, it is absolutely insane what's happening at Moog. At Moog right now, they got bought by InMusic, and I had a hunch of this before because I've been involved in a couple buyouts, and I know what happens during buyouts. So this is, since we're all chilling, let me just go through what happens during a buyout for a minute. So if you haven't went through it, what happens during a buyout is you get bought by a company, the company comes in, they get the numbers, they go through everything for a couple weeks, couple months, and they find out where the inconsistencies are in profit. It's all about profit then, because they just bought this thing, so they need to turn a profit pretty quick. So they look at everything and they start cutting. They start giving severance packages, retirement letters, all that stuff. If you were going to talk about it, you should have. I'm going to talk about it. So I'm just playing around, joking around. I'm obviously going to talk about it. So a ton of people get let go right off the bat. Then after the first round will get let go, there's monitoring through the system to see who's working, who's not, where the productivity is, who's not being productive, and then those people start getting cut, right? So what happened at InMusic and Moog, that happened. We watched it. You can go read the news articles. People just got wiped out right off the bat, and then they decided to only keep a small group of people. The people that they kept were the people who had the highest amount of expertise, the electrical engineers, the software people, the people who knew all about the ins and outs of the Moog synthesizers, okay? So these people, if you can imagine, are super, super, super dedicated to Moog. A lot of them have been there forever. A lot of young ones have been schooled from the older cats who were Moog legends, and they took a lot of pride, whether you love it, they took pride in what they were making, and they also took pride in how the Moog synthesizers were rolled out. They took pride in how they were marketed. They took pride in how the initial, okay, they built these things, you know, parts from China, whatever, but they put them together. This was their babies, right? So they wanted to see their product rolled out in a certain way. And right now with the Moog Muse, there's a lot of people behind the scenes who are super coming in, who, and I kind of agree with what they're doing, but I feel for the people who are working there. So what, you got a corporate entity coming in. The corporate entity says, where do we get the most reach? How do we get this in front of the most people? How do we create the most controversy, therefore engagement? So what you got to understand is it doesn't really matter if it's positive or negative when it comes to marketing in the initial phase, because you got to go with memory. What happens today will be forgot about tomorrow. So all it's about is engagement and interaction, all right? So Moog went and said, the Moog Muse isn't ready. It's not ready. It's not ready. They can't sell it yet. The firmware is not ready. The tuning's not ready. It's not ready. It's still ready to present if they do it right. So they said, what are we going to do first? Initially, they were like, all right, throw the Moog Muse. It might not even been the Moog Muse. They just might have been sitting on a thing at the Super Bowl. The dude might not even played that. I haven't went and checked the video and zoomed in to see if that was even played, but it was there, all right? So based on the firmware not being ready, maybe, and the tuning not being ready, they just wanted to have it there so that they could get it from most eyes. So after the Super Bowl, what's trending the most on social media and everything, it's Super Bowl, hashtag Super Bowl. If you went to Google Trends, you'd see Super Bowl trending. So they said, let's tag the Moog Muse to Super Bowl, because that's what's trending at the moment. And they did. And how they did that, they got Moog Muse, baby. I feel it too. I'm rooting for it. So what they did then, they got Andrew Huang to put out a picture of him with the face and the Moog Muse. Again, attached to Super Bowl with the article showing the grainy picture of the Moog Muse. Everybody freaked out. They were like, why does Andrew Huang get to have first dibs at the Moog Muse? Now, upon initial thoughts, that makes sense. if you're old school Moog guy, you would be like, why does Andrew Huang get to put this out? How come we're not hearing no sounds? Who is this cat? He has nothing to do with Moog. He's only demoed a couple Moogs in his whole entire thing. That's not the point. The point is, he's got 1 million+ followers on Facebook, the most out of anybody in this kind of generic community. Now, if you get Andrew Huang, piggyback the Super Bowl trend, now you got the Moog Muse out there. And to be honest, I think that I'm the one who's been representing Moog Muse the most, Moog Mirror. I'm the one who put out probably the content that most people are involved in. Like I said, I created that 38 trend, me and Synth Punk. So they did Andrew Huang. People freaked out. I don't know if he's got an ear problem or not. I think you're thinking about Van Gogh. But they did the Moog Muse with Andrew Huang. Everyone freaked out. He shouldn't have got it. He shouldn't have got it. So everyone was like, Moog doesn't know what they're doing. Their marketing department suck. They have no idea. No, that was genius, because what it did is it created, think of it as beams of light. It created a curiosity beam of light. It created a disgruntled beam of light. It created a negative beam of light. And it created a excitement beam of light. So you have 4 beams shooting out to the stratosphere of the internet. So when you look in the weeds, you think this was a dumb move. It wasn't. It was a very smart move. Then not only that, they gave it time to simmer with nothing. So people just stirred up, talking about it, and then kind of forgot about it. After they forgot about it, then they came out with the Mike Dean. I'm the one who said initially that Mike Dean should have been the guy it created momentum, tons of momentum. Mike Dean should have been the guy to release it initially. Why? Because to me, he's a legend, but everyone thinks because his studio's filled with smoke, he shouldn't represent the synthesizer, which I think is hilarious. But it's your own gear, do what you want with it. If you want to, if you want to fill your studio with smoke to get some creative inspiration, who cares? But anyway, so he came out with his Instagram post, and people were like, the sound sucks, can't hear it, blah, blah, blah. That wasn't the point. The point is Andrew Huang showed a picture, no sound. Those 2 brothers came out, but I don't even want to count that because that was so not even anything. So then you had Mike Dean came out, and you got a taste of the sound, but you got the gritty sound because he's making an album with it. So you got the gritty sound. You couldn't really hear it. It was monitors through a cell phone via another cell phone. So you got like 3rd-degree degradation of the sound. And what that did was make people say, it doesn't sound as good. But tons of people said, that sounds amazing, it sounds Moogish, it sounds creamy. So again, now what you got coming out of there is you got 2 beams of light. You got the negative and the positive. But what happens is you still got people talking now. And now we're into the 3rd phase. So the 3rd phase now is everybody saw the picture initially, but not a lot of it and no sound. 2nd phase, people saw a full-length picture of it, and you could zoom in, you saw the whole board, you saw the faders, they told you basically what this has, the 8 voices. Fill in the blanks with the rest, we're not going to get into it. Then, now you're going into the 3rd phase. The 3rd phase now is where they really need to hit you with what this thing sounds like, because that's what everyone's waiting for now. You saw it, you heard it kind of, but you were like, if you were following everything, you're like, I really don't know if this sounds like something I'm going to get or not. I got to wait. And then you got the price. So now what's coming up, from what I heard, is at SUPERBOOTH, which Moog never goes to. Moog's going to SUPERBOOTH. You're going to have all the legends there of the synth mafia. You're going to have Sonic State. You're going to have Jorb. You're going to have Bo Beats. You're going to have Cuckoo. So instead of sending all these guys a synthesizer that the firmware isn't ready, they don't know if it's totally good, you're going to send them your best box, 2 boxes probably, with Lisa Belladonna and Eric Norlander are going to take the 2 best, yeah, they're hyping it up big. They're going to take the 2 best Moog Muses they've got right now, and they're going to bring them to SUPERBOOTH. And instead of giving them to a bunch of influencers right now, they're going to let the influencers go up, plug in, play, and make content. And guess what? It's kind of dirty, but they get to make that content for free. They don't have to give away synthesizers to people. They don't have to pay anyone to rep it, because guess what? If I was going to SUPERBOOTH and Moog showed up for the first time ever, who do we got there? Arturia, Novation, Sequential. Man, if Behringer went, that'd be cool, but they're not going to go. And then you got all the synth mafia showing up, dying to get a taste of this thing, and Moog doesn't have to pay them, and they don't have to give them a synthesizer. Does that make sense? And then they can kind of gauge whoever had the best content, say Sonic State or Cuckoo had 8, 9 videos about the Moog Muse chopped up and the content. They're like, you know what? Send Sonic State a Moog Muse, which they're probably going to do anyways. They're going to send it to all, they're going to roll out the red carpet, kind of like Arturia did with the Astro Lab. But the problem is what's happening at Moog right now. You got the last Moog synthesizer. This is the last true Moog, all right? Yeah, Behringer might come out with the Reflection before Moog even gets this release. That'd be cool, because they could probably rip this out no problem. But anyway, what you got happening at Moog right now, you have Moog with internal turmoil, because Moog has a bunch of old school people who love and have a super passion for the old style Moog synthesizers. This is the last Moog to ever be released under the old Moog brand, because this was in the works for years. I think it was like 5 to 7 years they've been in the works with this thing. You know, 5 to 7 years they've been working on the Moog Muse, and now they're getting it out. The problem is now they're rolling out the Moog Muse in an influencer, ADHD, here today, gone tomorrow style, because the people running companies know what's up. They know that they can put out a bad video of the Moog today, and everybody will have forgot about it tomorrow, because there's so much content coming. It's a different world, and to be honest, I think it's very smart of Moog. It's genius what they're doing, because they also have to cut into a new customer base. Let's get to the price in a second, but just to put this to bed, there's internal turmoil at Moog because you have a bunch of old school guys by the old school, and then you got the new company coming in saying, this is what we're doing for marketing, fellas. I know it's not ready, but you guys have had this thing for 7 years. 7 years you've been working on this and don't got it out. So guess what? We're getting it out now on the internet. It doesn't mean we're releasing it yet, but chill out. And the old guys aren't into it because they don't want a grainy video with lo-fi sound of what's supposed to be their first 8-voice polyphonic synthesizer since the Moog 1, you know, which a lot of people think was amazing. A lot of people think it was a disaster. And we're going to see what happens. It's like a split. It's 2 tribes now, because you got InMusic and Moog. That's what happens when you get a buyout. Everybody goes tribal. A bunch of people quit, a bunch of people stick around. Usually the people stick around are disgruntled. 10% of them jump on board with the new company. The disgruntled people stick around for 1, 2, 3 years, then they leave. That's what happens, you know. So then we're going to get to the price. So the price is something that's interesting that we've been debating on the channel and other people have been debating. The deal with the price is, if you're thinking about InMusic, where's Moog going to go in the future? Let me ask you guys, why did Moog die? Why did Moog basically get sold for the 2nd, 3rd time? Anybody? Why did Moog get sold? What were they doing that got them sold? They were overpricing their synthesizers. In a market where you have Behringer, Arturia, so Behringer is basically, I don't want to call it, but let's call them the Walmart of synthesizers. Behringer's saying, anywhere, if you want to get into synthesizers, we're going to make them for you. We're going to tell you they sound like the originals. We're going to make them as close as possible, look as good. But guess what? They're still synthesizers. You can still make music, and that's what we're doing. That's Behringer. Then you got Arturia. Arturia is like, you know what? We're going to make highest quality gear with the best sounds. Excuse me. We're going to treat our employees like absolute gold, give them a lot of creative control over presets and sound and design, and then we're going to put out the highest quality gear with the best sound, and we're going to give it to you at a real good price. So Arturia to me is #1 right now, Behringer #2, and they kind of go between. Then you got Sequential, which seems to be, I'm a core Grolma fan, overpricing, bad QH, unstable architecture, only lots for money. Yep. So then you got Moog. So what Moog did is they didn't adapt, man. They came out and they went with the DFAM, the Mother 32, and the Subharmonicon, which to me are the best things they've released yet. They came in with the Grandmother and the Matriarch, but I don't think they did as good as what they thought they were going to do. One, I think those 2 names kind of didn't do it justice. I think they didn't have the guts that the old Moogs used to have. So they were running on name at this point, and they were running on the fact that it was made in America, and it wasn't made in America. So they were running on like a lot of, let's just call it a lot of equity and trust they built up over the years. That's what Moog was running on, but they wouldn't drop the prices. And they couldn't drop, they were caught between a rock and a hard place. They can't drop the prices because they're still saying they're made in America when they're not. They're assembled in America, and they just wouldn't, they wouldn't adapt to the times. They got sold. Now we got InMusic, who's got Moog. InMusic has access to distribution, has access to supply and parts, and has access to production at a higher scale. So, but never cared from. What's up, Wims? You're the GOAT. So what we have is we had Moog who wouldn't adapt because they built up their reputation on something that kind of wasn't true. It wasn't made in America. It was assembled in America. So in order to make the synths cheaper, they would have to that they were making it overseas. Canada rules. Not these days. It don't, man. America's the best. They need to pay their employees a living wage. Hard to do that when they're boutique. I don't know. I don't even know if it was a living wage thing more than the fact that they wouldn't adapt to the fact that every other company produces things in countries that are cheaper. And guess what? You can go into the whole geopolitical scenario with that. We know why that happened. If you don't know why that happened, then you're about to find out soon. But you can't say you're made in America while also admitting you make it overseas and then also charging $4,000, $5,000, $3,000 for a synthesizer. You just can't do it. And especially when these are mono synthesizers, all right? We're not talking about a Polybrute. We're not talking about a Mini Freak, which are all wet. So you're going to get a Polybrute for $2,600 US, or you're going to buy a Moog, Mini Moog for $5,000? Like, are you kidding me? You're going to buy a Mini Moog for $5,000. A mono synth, which I understand that people love it, and it's got this creamy sound that blows your mind and this, that, and the other. But listen, why would you buy a Mini Moog for $5,000 when you can buy a Polybrute, you can buy a Mini Freak, you can go out and buy a Rev 2 from Sequential, and then you can go buy a Roland TR-8S. So you're going to have that set up, or you're going to go buy a Mini Moog? No, man, you know how much that Mini Moog should cost? Honestly, that Mini Moog should cost $2,500 max. That's what that should cost. And when they reissued their Mini Moog, if they would have had any sense in their marketing department, they would have reissued that Mini Moog at $2,500. It might have saved the company. A $2,500 Mini Moog might have Model D might have saved their company. $2,500. Because guess what? At $2,500, the old school Moog fanboys would have bought it, and then they would have created a brand new customer base. So we're going to see what happens. We'll see what happens. But anyways, I guess the headline of what I'm talking about is Moog is now taking the next step, and they're getting involved with going to these events. They're going to SUPERBOOTH. From what I'm hearing, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is a hunch. I just got a hunch, you know? I got a little bit of a hunch that Moog will be at SUPERBOOTH. You will see Lisa Belladonna, who's a legend. Like it, love her, do whatever you want. She's got two of the greatest Moog promotional videos of all time. Go check it out. They're absolutely mental. And she's going to be there with Eric Norlander, who's also a legend. And from what I heard, Eric Norlander is now working for Moog, and I don't know if he is head of something, but rumors are, man, they decided a couple weeks ago, like, they usually plan events way ahead of time, and they decided that they were going to go to SUPERBOOTH. So, man, that place is scrambling. That's not a huge company, but they're doing the Akai thing. So if you notice what happens with Akai rolls their stuff out with super teases. But the beauty is Akai picked one legend. I can't remember his name now. Do you guys know his name? The Akai dude, the British dude with the cool rooster style haircut. He can make a drum beat with his eyes closed. What's his name? You guys know his name? He's a legend. He's always on Anderton's synth videos. They always got him demoing it. They're always top notch, and they always tease it, which is cool. So that's what's going on, man. As far as Behringer goes, I was waiting to hear some stuff from Andy Mack. Yeah, Andy Mack, he's a legend. Andy Mack is a legend. Absolute legend. Low battery here. We might have to clue it up. But anyways, about to die. Thanks for joining me. Again, I just want to test out this mic. If you guys are interested, it's a SAR harmonic. I was trying to get a DJI mic, but that thing was like $300. You got a Rooster Mohawk, bro? Nice. It's got 2 mics, and it's got a receiver on my phone, and so far, once I moved it closer to my face, you guys said it sounded good, so this is like 120 bucks. So if you want to film anything out on the road, I'm hoping to do, I'm hoping to go to New England SYNTH Fest. I think it's called May. So I'm going to go there, and maybe I'll be bringing this stuff and try to get some content. I haven't went to a show before, but this is kind of in the backyard, so I'm going to go there and check some stuff out. And if Echo goes, I'm hoping me and Echo can maybe do a podcast together. That's why I got this stuff. Yeah, this is cool stuff, man. 129 bucks. Charging port, this thing charges it. It's got 16 hours. I heard Mike Adams is the reason why. I heard Mike Adams messed stuff up. I did hear that. I heard that. Seaton's tight at NS. Yeah, what I'm hoping to do at NESF or whatever it's called is I'm going to set up in the parking lot with 2 camping chairs, maybe a cooler of beers or something, if I can swing that. And I'm going to set up there with a couple chairs and a little table like this. Maybe I'll bring this table. And I'll just chill and I'll dart in and out, grab a few videos, then come out and chill in the parking lot maybe. And then if anyone wants to have a chat, I got 2 mics and I'll record it on this little thing I got going on here. That's kind of what I'm thinking. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's it. So anyways, the main points of tonight is the MPC 1. I'm keeping it. I'm going to do something with this because I'd like to show you guys how this applies to synthesizers, man, because I feel like it's, what's a swaggish approach? What's swaggish? Oh, swaggish? Yeah, I might roll in with some swag, man. I might go in a full ninja costume yet, so no one even knows who I am. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, is the parking lot small? Parking lot too small? Yeah. If the parking lot's too small, maybe we'll set up in the parking lot. I heard they had to move buildings, so it's in Waltham now, I heard. And I heard they had to move buildings or something, so now it's in somewhere way smaller. So what are you saying? You can't, Synth Seeker, you're saying you can't set up in the parking lot there? Is that what you're telling me? I don't know. We'll see. Well, Beats has tutorials. Yeah, this Douglas guy, yeah. All right, we'll see what happens. I'll zoom in on Google Earth and see what happens. But I don't need to really set up. I just need to park my car and open the trunk. All right? What's the latest news on the Muse? All right, I guess I'll do this last bit now, and I got to take off so my battery's going to die. The latest news on the Muse is Moog Muse next appearance will be at first is real tight. All right, I'll check it out. The Moog Muse is probably, from everything that I'm feeling, going to be at SUPERBOOTH. Lisa Belladonna and Eric Norlander are going to be doing a duet with 2 Moog Muses. One probably playing a lead and one probably playing pads. And maybe they'll have a drum machine with it, I don't know. But they'll... I'm hoping this also has some effects built into it. I know a lot of people don't like effects on their synthesizers, but to me, dude, put some effects on your synthesizers. It's like... I mean, if Behringer can throw the Clark Technic effects on their mixers that aren't even amazing, just license them and throw them on your synthesizers. It's cool, because guess what? Dry synthesizers are cool, but not everyone wants to take a synthesizer, plug it into a DAW, run it through a bunch of plugins. When it's going to be released, I heard it's not going to be released till at least the fall, and that's devastating, because I heard the firmware is just not up to snuff yet. So, you're looking at fall. And I think you're looking at the big rollout, June, July maybe, is going to be like when they really start hammering the marketing rollout. But I think we're not going to see that thing till fall. But we're going to get clean sounds at SUPERBOOTH. Yeah, you know what? I'm thinking about organizing my own friggin' show. Just having it at a campsite or something somewhere down south. We'll go somewhere down south, rent rent someone's farm for a weekend, bring a bunch of synths and generators, set up shop. Everyone can jam, have a few people play their, have members of the Synth Kumite, if they can show up, play their tracks. If you guys aren't following the Synth Kumite, we'll do a live stream tomorrow night and we'll show some of that. But yeah, anyways, my battery's gonna die here now in a second. Thanks, bro. We're just doing what we're doing. All I'm trying to do with the channel is when I feel a vibe, I make a video, and I'm not really thinking too hard about it or thinking too much. If I want to play a song, I play a song. If I want to do a live stream in the backyard, I do a live stream. If I want to film in the car, Kumite tomorrow night, 8 p.m. ET. We're going to listen to some tracks and talk about it. Kumite rules, yep. It's cool. Next year for the Kumite, what I'm thinking about doing, I was talking with the missus today. Next year for the Kumite, I'm going to organize it a little cleaner, and I'm going to approach a bunch of synthesizer companies and ask if any of them want to get involved in sponsoring it and see if they want to give away a big synthesizer. You know, we'll see what happens. All they can do is say no. All I can do is ask. Hey, if you can't catch it live, watch it on repeat. I'll try to film it as clean as like a regular show, not like tonight where the camera fell off the bricks and broke my screen or screen cover or something. But anyways, you guys rule. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for giving me the feedback on the mic. It looks like it's working good. I'll re-listen once I go in the house. And like I said, this is cool. 129 bucks, pick it up. 2 mics, receiver, all the bells and whistles, charging port, wherever it is on the back there, USB-C. And if you want the MPC, man, if you can pick up one for 400 bucks, I'm gonna do a mini video, but Ron's got the real tutorials coming. So I'd look to him. I'll do a more, you know, I'm not the best at demos and tutorials. I kind of just do my thing, and it is what it is. All right, so you guys take it easy. Have a wonderful Saturday night. I love you all. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for hanging out, and we'll catch you soon. Sloo, sloo.